Okay, right then. Hello and welcome to Culture Bites. I'm Enas Refaei. Actually, that's kind of weird for me. I don't think, before moving to the UAE, I'm going to confess something. Oh God, first lesson, first sentence, and I'm confessing something. Before moving to the UAE, I always called myself Enas Refaei because I lived in the UK and it was always really difficult to pronounce my name. So I've always been Enas Refaei, and now I'm kind of like taking ownership of my real name, which is Enas Refaei, which feels really like strange, but really like lovely. And I think it's a really good segue to introduce my fellow Arabic sounding, but yet not Arab friend.
Hi.
Farah.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a similar name story. I'm Farah Andrews. I say Farah Andrews, and I know I say my name wrong. I get told on an almost daily basis here. I'm not, well, I don't say Farah, but a lot of other people do. But
I'm going to always call you Farah because I just think that's your name and it means happiness and it makes me happy.
There we go.
So this podcast is all about culture and, you know, what we've been experiencing in the UAE. I think when I first moved to the UAE, I genuinely thought I'd had my culture fill. I've reached maximum culture, but actually coming here, I've realized that there's so much.
Yeah, there is. It's a whole world of arts, culture, entertainment to explore here in the UAE, and it's a joy to do it. I'm so excited about. So you're kind of new to the arts scene here. You've come from London, which we all acknowledge is
It's
a
bit too much, actually.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
Sometimes it's overwhelming. And I think people come here and they kind of think, oh, okay, that's it, like arts isn't going to be a part of my life anymore. I remember so vividly when I first moved here, I was on the metro, I was walking along and I was kind of like, oh, I miss that vibey scene in London without kind of using awful words there. Sorry, vibey scene.
It's here though. It's here.
And then I just realized, no, you're a fool. It's there. You just have to go out and find it. And it's not deep underground.
No.
There is underground scenes to explore.
We
can go.
have a lot to learn.
But no, there is so much to enjoy here. And that's why we're doing this.
I think that's it. And I think that this is like when I met you, it's a new friendship. So sorry, listeners, you are going to have to witness our friendship unfold on this podcast as well. Because I think that was something that really connected me to you, was the fact that you have such an interest in arts and it's your job.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't done that part yet.
We haven't even said it.
We haven't said anything about ourselves and our jobs. I am head of features at the National, which means my job is arts, culture, lifestyle, travel, and our luxury magazine. So my job is kind of all the fun parts of the newspaper, which is the best.
I mean, I have to say, I've come here to the National. I'm head of multimedia, which means I do all the video and podcasts, hence why we're in this room letting this happen.
How we found ourselves here.
Well, we found ourselves here. But yeah, I'm just so new to the culture here. And it's just been so good to connect with you. And just also here at the National, we find out about everything. So this podcast is a really good way for everybody, whether you're listening to this or watching this, to really get a grips with like what's going on in the UAE in terms of arts and culture. So here we are. My full name, Enas Refaei, and I am one of the hosts here at Culture Bites, and this is our first episode.
And I'm Farah Andrews. Before we start, if you want to make sure you get all the episodes as soon as they come out, please subscribe on your favourite podcast app.
Right then, so we've got lots of things to talk about. We had our first outing.
We called it a school trip.
We did call it a school trip. I do think it was a bit of a school trip. So it was very good timing actually from the Louvre, and we have to do a big shout out to Abu Dhabi. Louvre. Apologies.
That's me butchering. The French will be listening going, no. But yeah, Louvre is my understanding of how to pronounce it.
No, I think that's great. I think, look, that's one of the things I need to learn coming here, especially moving to Abu Dhabi, is how to pronounce the most important art gallery, art space, I think, in the country.
Yeah.
Really, really stunning space. If you haven't been, like, definitely, if you live in Dubai and you're thinking, it's a bit of a drive away, definitely make the trip. It's beautiful.
It's an hour. We can all do an hour in the car or in a taxi. So we're going to be chatting Louvre.
We're going to be chatting Louvre and the new exhibition there. We're also going to touch on the writers' strikes, which is happening and having a big effect on television.
And we're going to have our roving reporter, Maan, who's going to be in the studio with us, telling us everything that's happening in the UAE in our Man About Town segment.
I am so excited for that, and I can't wait to welcome Maan to the studio.
It's going to be great. And there's also going to be some Taylor Swift chat.
No.
Will you indulge me?
We can go there.
Thrilled.
Okay, so first let's talk about this then. Let's talk about the Letters of Light exhibition at the Louvre, which we went to together.
Yep.
And it's a really, it was quite atmospheric, I would say. It's an exhibition which is bringing together all of the Abrahamic religions. I think it kind of ties in right to the Abrahamic houses.
Yeah, so the exhibition has been put on kind of not hand in hand with the Abrahamic houses, but in conjunction. Again, it, as you said, it looks at the holy texts from the three religions. So from Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
I thought it was so good. I'm Muslim. I looked at the family tree. I thought at the very beginning of the exhibition, there's a family tree of how the Abrahamic religions all kind of relate to Abraham.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really well put together, really kind of simplified language, I would say.
Yeah, at the beginning they make it's accessible, right?
Yeah.
People can go in. You don't. So what I thought was very interesting, the curator has told us that it is not necessarily an exhibition about religion. It's an exhibition about religious texts and religious books, which is the kind of foundation of what we saw and what we enjoyed. There are such incredible pieces of religious history in that space.
Well, there were pieces of the Dead Sea Scrolls there.
Yeah.
I got very excited. I think I might have jumped around a bit. First century Dead Sea Scrolls, insane. If you actually really contemplate the age of some of the scriptures that were in that exhibition, absolutely mind blowing.
And then, as you said, the exhibition is incredibly atmospheric. You enter, you go into quite dark spaces where the books have been given kind of ample space to be enjoyed. That's one of my favorite things about the Louvre. I say it every time I talk about it. That it is a gallery museum with just so much space. Space is a luxury in so many of Europe's museums. You feel so crammed in.
I never thought
you're
of that.
Brushing against everyone else that's in there. You're going to, and I mean, we all think of Louvre Paris, and we think of the Mona Lisa, right? And you are
terrifying to go into.
Squished in like sardines, and you kind of, and that affects your experience of enjoying these incredible pieces of art and history. That is such a different experience here.
Oh no, you get so much space, time, and it's even just I feel like it's kind of been created for you to feel at ease in these spaces and to take your time. We shouldn't talk about the fact that I love the sofas everywhere. I kept stopping and looking at the
If you can find a place to sit down.
But no, I do think that the space is incredible. And yeah, like you were saying, the light is kind of put on all of the transcriptions inside of this exhibition. So you just feel like there's a focus on each piece and everything has its own space. And that was made me feel a lot more connected to what I was reading, even though some of it, there were things in, I looked at one Quran that was written in China. Really beautiful.
It does such a good job of illustrating how global religion is. The fact that nothing's pigeonholed in that space. You have religious texts written all over the world, and it's beautiful. And then as you move out of the very dark kind of atmospheric rooms, we move into a space where they kind of talk about the progression of how religious texts have become written and how they're the kind of how sacred it is at the time when people were given the honor of recreating these religious texts. And that room is vivid and orange and yellow and bright. And we both walked in and commented on how the energy had changed in that space. And it's not our job to do an audio tour of this exhibition.
We love the curators though, so well done.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. What was your highlight?
Okay, so my highlight was actually the end.
Yeah.
So you kind of walk into this dark room and there's, I would say it was like a sculpture light piece. And it kind of made me feel like something I wanted to go around, similar to how you go around the Kaaba. Like it had a kind of like feeling of kind of like oneness and bringing together and circular that I really enjoyed.
It's a super immersive art piece. It's called Unseen by a Saudi artist called Mohanad Shono. And you've described it perfectly. It's like, it's light and you walk around it. It's quite a meditative space.
Yes.
You can kind of really, we both walked in and was like instantly very calm, which so many places of worship have that same effect on people. It was it's not a literal translation of any of what we had just seen, but it was just, I thought, quite a beautiful modern take on the experience we just had.
Yeah, I think it was really good. And it was kind of like, it was a really nice way to end the exhibition. So I think really well done to everybody who was involved in that. It was great.
Just before you get to the Unseen was my highlight, which is the Blue Quran.
Oh, that was beautiful.
It's quite a contentious piece. No, it's not a contentious piece. The date and where it was created is up for debate. People don't know. Even the exhibition lists it as it could have been Spain, could have been North Africa, could have been Northern, it could have been Iraq. Wow. And it was created between the 8th and the 10th century. So it's a very mysterious piece of holy text, but it is on this like dark blue paper with gold writing. So it's acknowledged that it was created like someone with a lot of money, someone with a lot of influence created these beautiful religious texts. And it's amazing.
I think it's like written in one of my favorite Arabic scripts, calligraphy, which is it Kulfig? I'm looking at my producer now. Kulfig, I think, yeah. It's really, really lovely, really beautiful exhibition. So yeah, if you happen to be in Abu Dhabi or make the trip, I'm going to say make the trip.
Yeah, it's worth making the trip.
Yeah, make the trip, come to Abu Dhabi and see the Letters of Light exhibition, which is running, I believe, until next year.
Yeah, January the 14th. So you've got plenty of time.
Fabulous. So you're going to tell us now about the second story on our list. Now, you've left it quite blank for me. Blank space.
A blank space?
Oh, maybe I've made a Taylor reference. So you've left a blank space on the running order today. Right, tell me, what's going on? Why is Taylor written on my notes?
Right. This is not my time to say I'm leaving the National, because I'm not. But I am going
to...
Today's
first episode.
But I am saying that over at USA Today, they're hiring a Taylor Swift reporter. And I am saying...
That's your dream job?
I'm overqualified.
So wait a second. Is it really enough Taylor Swift concerts happening? What is going on? Like, okay, I understand you're a huge Taylor fan. Explain the craze.
You want me to explain being a Taylor Swift fan? There is no time.
Okay.
This isn't a Taylor Nation podcast.
How could it warrant its own job?
Right. It's not only so they're hiring two reporters. They're hiring a Beyonce reporter and a Taylor Swift reporter.
Oh, so they're
which is mega. I have read the job descriptions today, so if anyone notices that I've been looking at different jobs, it's been pure research, guys, pure research. And so it's USA Today is looking for two different journalists. And they are seeking reporters to chronicle the music, fashion, cultural, and economic influence of the artists. And I think that's broad. Both of those singers are on tour at the moment. They are making massive headlines with...
Huge. I mean, I read a stat somewhere that Taylor Swift coming to your town is like the Super Bowl coming to your town. Like in terms of what it does economically.
But Taylor Swift is doing it 4 nights in a row, and those American footballers just do it for like an hour across 4 hours.
Okay, so we're definitely with a Swiftie. But yeah, I think like it is incredible, like the amount, and I don't know, I've heard rumors as well that she really likes to share the money across everybody who works on the show.
Oh, I mean, like Taylor, yeah, that's a big part of kind of the conversation. She makes sure that everybody who works on the tour is treated very well. They're getting big bonuses, and that's very like a lot of economic parity with Taylor Swift. Here at the National, we've written about the kind of like economic impact that Taylor Swift's tour has had on the US economy. Like when she goes to towns and the money is just being plowed in. Beyonce's tour has made something like $1 billion, which is like the money is it's not small money.
I'm just thinking, like, we've definitely moved, haven't we, into like seeing more live performances. I think, like, you know, I was talking the other day with a friend about like the death of music videos. Like, people aren't so interested anymore in music videos, and we've kind of moved away from it, but we're still love seeing people live.
There's like, for a good few years now, records, CDs, singles haven't been the way that musicians make money. They make money when they hit the road and they are on tour for these 8-month-long tours, whether they are domestic or they're international. I think it was pre-COVID that I remember reading that Bon Jovi was like one of the most lucrative bands in music, and I was like, how? Like, they aren't putting out new music. That didn't make sense to me. But then they're just always on tour, and they're always doing these big stadium spaces. So they won't still be the most lucrative band in music, but in like the last 5 years, they've been up there as making some of the most money in music.
Wow.
And that's not because people are belting out Always on Spotify. It's because they are going and they're watching them live, and when they go and watch these bands live, they don't just go and pay the ticket. They buy the t-shirts.
A tote.
They pay for hotels. They buy the
love
totes.
a tote.
They buy food and drink when they're there. They're just massive money makers.
Yeah.
I went to Harry Styles this summer, and I paid to get to London to go watch Harry Styles. I bought merch. We bought like food and drink around Wembley. I didn't pay for a hotel because I stayed at my friend's, so sorry about that to the hotel industry.
to the Wembley economy. No, but I think that's really good. It's really interesting to see how the impact of like live music, it does have a huge impact. And over here, like, I cannot wait. And I'm sure in new episodes we're going to talk about live music here in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai and everywhere else in the UAE, because it's so exciting. Like this summer, Guns N' Roses came.
Yeah, and the fact that we have 2 massive arenas that are both indoors, the Etihad Arena and the Coca-Cola Arena in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So there's like, music doesn't just have to be a kind of November till March commodity anymore.
A winter moment.
We can have these amazing acts coming all year round. I did want to say about the reporter jobs.
Oh, okay.
They haven't been without criticism.
Oh.
Yeah. Everything gets criticised somewhere. But people have sort of raised an eyebrow at the fact that USA Today, there have been massive job cuts at the newspapers, at the publishing houses.
Was this a PR stunt?
Then there is
Are they just going to hire an intern who's grossly underpaid?
Oh, you have to hope not. On LinkedIn, they have a salary listed.
Okay.
And so it isn't as a unpaid, it's definitely not an unpaid job. And yeah, my interpretation of it is probably that this is more of if this just said music reporter and then the person was mainly focusing on Taylor Swift, we wouldn't be talking about that right now, would we? But obviously it gets a lot more.
It's clever.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Who would you, if we had to have a reporter assigned to just one artist, who would we have?
Ooh, here in the Middle East. I mean, Amr Diab just came recently. I mean, who doesn't love Amr Diab? I think like
sometimes it feels like I have a full-time Amr Diab reporter, the amount we write about him.
I think he'd probably be really big and up there. I think that there's a few new up-and-coming stars as well, I think, are like definitely gaining a lot of traction. But he's just the first guy that comes to mind. I think really on the underground scene, going to that, I think there's amazing Arab DJs that are like coming up and like really getting a lot of traction. Like even at Boiler Room hosted like, I think her name is Salha and Nuria. I saw Nuria actually earlier this year. She was amazing. And I think like, yeah, there's a lot of like these really cool young Arab DJs that are coming up that I really enjoy listening to. Okay, so now I want to take the conversation somewhere else. I want to take it somewhere new.
Yes.
We're going to get serious now. Hollywood writer strikes. This has been an ongoing thing. Like, you're going to have to fill me in a little bit here because I think it's really important that we talk about it because it does affect so much of the arts industry and things that I hadn't really quite considered. Things like chat shows. You'd think chat shows are just people chatting like this, but actually they have teams of writers behind.
Yeah, of course. Like Jimmy Fallon doesn't stand up and just have everything off the cuff. He has got people that write his script, people that write his monologues, and that's why as you say, think it isn't just a case of, oh, the new series of XYZ isn't going to come out. That the whole of Hollywood industry has been affected, whether that is television, whether that's streamers, and whether that's the big budget movies that we have kind of anticipated were going to be put on hold. So, yeah, of course, there's a number of productions that have literally ground to a halt. We've got looking at the new Gladiator that has just stopped.
Oh,
and then there's.
Can I tell you my secret?
That you're in Gladiator?
I wish. No, I was really excited. Okay, forgive me for being very much part of the noughties generation, but I was really excited about Lindsay Lohan, our Dubai-based resident.
There's nothing guilty about this secret.
Lindsay Lohan was going to come back Freaky Friday too, and it's been postponed.
Yeah, so our girl Lindsay lives in Dubai, spends all of her time here by all accounts. She was meant to be back with Jamie Lee Curtis in Freaky Friday 2, but it has been paused. That doesn't mean it isn't happening.
It's just affected so many things. I think there's going to be a huge knock-on effect. I think, I don't know if there's any other films that have been postponed or delayed.
So there's about 30 films that are in production that have been put on pause. And then the kind of knock-on of it is that it isn't just about the filming. It's about promoting. So it's like red carpets are being held back. So films are still coming out. That doesn't break the strike. So we've just had Equalizer 3 that's come out of Denzel Washington. The film has done very, very well. Denzel has done no press for it. So there is still a kind of conversation about films that can come out without the actors doing interviews, red carpets, and everything supporting it.
Sorry for being quite slow here. No. So what the actors are part of this?
Yes. So this is a writer's strike and SAG-AFTRA. So it's a combined strike. It's the writers' union and the actors' union. So do you remember when Oppenheimer came out?
Huge.
It was huge. Barbenheimer was a very, very big moment for all of our summer, which was quite a quiet summer.
Yeah.
And halfway through the Oppenheimer red carpet premiere in London, the actor strike was announced. And when that happened, all of the actors from the film got up and left the cinema where they were watching that film because that was they would have been breaking the strike. They would have been crossing the picket line if they'd have stayed in that cinema. So that's why we aren't seeing these big glossy red carpets.
Wow.
There have been some red carpets with celebrities on them, and then there's been a lot of conversation like, have they crossed the picket line? If production companies are adhering to the kind of strike terms, then they're allowing certain, there's lots of T's and C's and footnotes to where and why people aren't crossing the picket line.
So people are really feeling the pressure, I suppose, within the industry to stick together on this one.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. It's all about and the actors are using their positions of in the public eye to draw attention to what the writers need.
Wow.
They are making sure they're joining them on the picket line. You're seeing them kind of literally out there holding the placards, and they are kind of looking for the rights.
And we had rumours. I mean, lots of these shows, some of them are really big in America. So Drew Barrymore, I saw some things in the news about how she was going to have a show. Now she's not going to have a show.
Yeah.
Not that I watched that show. I think I only remember that one thing that went viral when she was shouting in the rain. But was that on her show? I can't remember. But anyway, that was that was something which we felt like we'd moved past something, but then it was actually taken away.
Yeah, so she was going to bring her show back, and she kind of had a workaround not using writers that are part of the union, and then that's
sneaky.
Yeah. And then I think she thought she was doing the right thing, but then there's been a lot of the classic Hollywood apology filmed in a no makeup camera, very
Lovely.
Very sincere apology.
Oh my God, I hope I never have to do one of those.
You're getting carried away.
So do you think though now, because of this has had an effect mainly on America, do we think that there's going to be huge things that come outside of America? Squid Game was huge in the East. Could we get the Middle Eastern Squid Game?
So it's an interesting conversation to be having in 2023, because last time there was a double strike was in the 60s. And that was when Hollywood was the only film, TV driving force. Then there was the writer's strike in 2007. We'll remember that Breaking Bad had a terrible first season because it only had 8 episodes. Everyone thinks that people agree that the first season of Breaking Bad wasn't the best, and then it went on to become one of them, a TV show that people consider every episode to be art, and that's because it was kind of concluded after the writer's strike. So, are we going to see that now? Yes, very likely. We're probably going to see shorter season runs in Hollywood productions. We're also going to see a lot of, like we've spoken about, a lot of delays. But Hollywood isn't the be-all and end-all anymore.
Exactly.
And it is not, like, a global audience consumes Korean film, it consumes Korean music, it consumes Korean television. You've mentioned Squid Game. So many Korean soaps, dramas, everything are, they're always like top 10 on Netflix. Streamers make everything so accessible. Everyone can watch, consume, enjoy this television. And then, we are seeing so many local production houses open up here, and that there is definitely an opportunity for lots of stories to be told from this region.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying Saudi cinema, actually. Really interesting stuff is coming out of Saudi Arabia at the moment. And I think I watched like I think it was called Masamir, which is a cartoon. It's actually on Netflix.
Oh, I've not seen it.
Yeah, it's really great. And it's kind of like these quite comical characters. I think they must have been taken from a comic, or they must be a history that I'm just ignorant to, but really interesting, really fun play on Saudi culture. Like, I think they talk about like even fast food in one episode. I just found it really entertaining, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm glad that Netflix is also promoting things which is happening, you know, in our region here.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that we're probably going to see come out of it, which is a much less highbrow impact, is a big uptick in reality TV. I'm not mad at that. I quite like some reality TV.
I don't know how much I can take.
It's not all I want to watch, but because it's literally unscripted television, right? So
of course,
it can be, every channel can be making countless reality shows just to fill the gaps, fill everything they have on their schedules. Streamers can have as many as they want. Like, I think we are going to see a lot of reality TV this autumn.
Okay, well, let's go for it. Okay.
Done.
So let's get into it, and let's introduce should we do a drum roll? Man About Town.
Yes, in each episode we're going to be joined by our reporter Man as he meets artists, passionate performers and creative minds who are shaping the cultural landscape here in the UAE. Welcome, Man.
Woohoo!
Hello, everyone. It's Maan About Town.
Man.
Yeah, nice to meet you all.
What have you got for us this week?
So there's lots of cool stuff happening because the art season is just about to start in the UAE. So the first thing, which I think everybody should check out next week, is a Pablo Picasso painting that has never been in the Middle East before. It's going to be in Dubai. Yeah, big deal.
This is huge.
It's huge. It's huge. So it is going to be in Sotheby's DIFC on Monday and Tuesday, so the 25th and the 26th of September. And the painting is called, I will butcher this because it's in French, Mademoiselle Le Montre, which means woman in watch or woman with watch. And it's one of his most famous portraits. And it's a portrait of his mistress. It was a very scandalous story at the time. Her name was Marie-Therese Walter. And the reason why this painting is a big deal is because she is wearing a watch, which was kind of rare at the time. So Picasso was obsessed with watches. And of all his portraits, he's only painted 3 women wearing a watch. And at the time, which was 1932 was when the painting was painted, watches were just becoming fashionable for women to wear.
Okay.
So it was a real sort of like interesting point in the painting that...
It's a moment.
A moment.
It's like now if we were to like paint somebody with their Google glasses.
Something like that.
Or like me and my Fitbit.
Except more fashionable, because I
Except
don't
we all
think a
have
Google
Fitbits.
glasses or a Fitbit are particularly fashionable. So it's a really important painting from that perspective. And also his relationship with Marie was sort of controversial, and also she was considered his golden muse. So most of his famous portraits of women had her in them.
Wow.
So he left his wife at the time, Olga Kokovha, I think her name was, for Marie, and they had a child. And yeah, she was she was that girl for Picasso in so many of his paintings.
I'm a huge Picasso fan. Absolutely. I think it was the first time I ever cried at a painting.
Oh, really?
Was Weeping
Guernica?
Woman. Yeah,
Oh,
Weeping Woman.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful painting.
Yeah.
Really, really lovely. What else is there though?
What
Tell us.
else? Okay, so if you're interested to see a really cool show, there is the Art Jamil show at the Art Jamil Center. And it is a group show, which is a collaboration between Art Jamil and the Victoria and Albert Museum in London.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where is this? In Dubai?
Yeah, in Dubai. It is out. Where is it? It is
Yeah, it's like pretty far away from these parts in Abu Dhabi.
beyond
Okay,
there.
yeah.
It's a beautiful museum, and it has a really cool cafe, and it's right on the water. So it's a really great day out for the whole family. But this exhibition in particular, it's part of the Art Jamil Prize, which has been going on for, I think, 5 years now. And it's in collaboration with the Victoria Albert Museum, like I said. And they invite artists to create work based on Islamic traditions. Now, what's really cool is that this group show has 8 artists, and the range of work is so varied. So you have video, you have installation, you have sculpture, you have illustration, printmaking.
Oh, cool.
And they're also different, but they all have some kind of thread to do with Islamic tradition,
Okay.
which is really cool.
I really love it when you put lots of artists together and then you give them a theme and then they all run with it. And it's always so varied what people come up with. And I always think it's really good to see.
It's cool as well because each artist is from somewhere in the region. So there's someone from India, from the UAE, from Iran, Lebanon. All of them have very different perspective and interpretation of Islamic traditions, which kind of reminds everybody that, Islam is so varied and diverse and how we experience it is very different.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness, I can't wait for that.
Have you said how long that's going on for?
It's on until Jan, so we have some time.
Okay, people have time to
But
get
it's always a
check
great
out.
time to go with the family, I think, to the museum. Oh, sorry, it's in Jeddah, Art Jamil.
Geotag.
Okay. And then, so we were just earlier, we were just talking about what's been going on with film, but there are some new things that are coming out at the moment, aren't there?
Yeah. So one thing I was very lucky to see before it's officially out this Friday is the Continental, which is a new series by Amazon, which is part of the John Wick universe. So if you're a big John Wick
I'm
fan.
a huge John Wick fan.
I've never seen any until I watched this show. And I was
did you
like,
like it?
I really enjoyed it.
If you were, just hypothetically, talking to someone that had never seen anything John Wick, how would you describe it?
Oh, it's just kind of like really, really fun, kind of action. So in the film series, I don't know if it's still Keanu, but in the film series, is it brilliant? So he's just kind of like this, he's got a vengeance. He's going to come after you. But there's this layer of normal society which he kind of goes under. So imagine like there's a web and then there's the dark web. It's like he's operating in the dark web. It's really fun because there's a part. So he goes to a hotel, for instance, and he's like, he needs a room. But instead of just giving his credit card, he gives a gold coin and then he gets to a different part of the hotel. And it's like, oh no, he's part of the underbelly of society. So
Ironically enough, it sounds like every Keanu Reeves movie.
Which I'm a huge fan of.
These kind of action films are like my pop culture blind spot. I just don't acknowledge
I love action
they
films,
exist.
so don't worry.
yeah.
I'm going to educate you. Both?
But yeah,
Well,
I mean,
Man's seen it now.
I've seen the first one and it's quite good. There's 4 of these John Wick movies. But, what you're saying is all true. However, the show, The Continental, is a prequel to all of that. So it tells you about how this hotel, The Continental, which eventually becomes a safe haven for hitmen, which is where Keanu Reeves comes into play, how it sort of began. And the main guy from the movie, not Keanu Reeves, Winston Scott.
That would be impressive.
That would be
casting.
interesting. Winston Scott. So it's his sort of origin story, how he became the manager of the hotel and how he
Amazing.
kind of created this whole world for all these future assassins. So it's set in 1970s New York. And it's very, very, very stylized. It's really a beautiful show to watch. Like the colors, the lighting, the cinematography. And what's very cool, which is also in the John Wick films, is the fighting scenes. They kind of combine gunplay and martial arts and really cool camera angles. So it's quite entertaining to watch from that perspective. And it has a very cool soundtrack. It's lots of 1970s music that are covered by,
I have
You've
to
got me
admit,
in.
I mean, any excuse for us to go back to the 70s.
Yeah.
I think I was born in the wrong era. But the 70s, like fashion, I have got a fringe jacket. Maybe I'll wear it to one episode. Fashion, music, it's just beautiful.
But what's cool about the music is that they've taken like really famous 1970s songs, but they're covered by more modern artists. So, what's Frank Sinatra's daughter's called? Nancy Sinatra. You know her Bang Bang song?
Yeah.
So somebody else does that in a more like a country twang, which is during a fight scene, which is really cool. It's really, really different.
That's really fun.
This might be a silly question, but there is no such thing as a stupid question.
No.
No.
Is Keanu Reeves in this?
No, he's not.
So that's why it's not reached me.
Registering. No, he's not in it, but there's some. Mel Gibson is in it, if you're a Mel Gibson fan. Yeah, so he plays the...
Shock? Bit shocking.
He plays the big, bad antagonist in the film. So he kind of... It's interesting seeing Mel Gibson on our screens after a while now. I haven't seen him. It's been a while.
He's had a moment, hasn't he?
He's had a moment.
I feel like this podcast, we've actually mentioned Gladiators and Mel Gibson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like 2 blasts from the past. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. And we promise to get you loads more interesting stories for next week.
And if you have enjoyed this episode, please follow and subscribe on your favourite podcasting app. And don't forget to tell all of your friends all about it. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.